going on? So, I had a chance to do some catching up on the Stefon Diggs and his chef case, and I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it all. Okay, so I did take notes. Y'all know how I do. Okay, so his chef name is Jamila Nilla Adams. So her nickname is Nilla, right? They call her Nilla or Nyla. Nyla or Nilla. I think it's Nilla. Anyway, she says she's been knowing Stefon ever since 2022, December of 2022. She said Stefon hit her up in her DMs on Instagram, and he reached out to her, and they started having an actual relationship. They were friends, and then and 2025 is when February 2025 is when he contacted her and asked her to be his chef. She started living with him from July to December of 2025 as his chef. This incident happened in November of 2025, where Nilla says that she was in her room because she was a live-in chef for Stefon Diggs from July 2025 until December 2025 when she moved out on the 15th or 16th, something like that. Anyway, yeah. So she said that she was texting him about going on a trip that he had scheduled, and I guess he booked a trip for like him and his coworkers and everybody. He was paying for it. And she said she was told that she wasn't able to go on that trip. So they started texting back and forth, and she wanted to know, why she wasn't going on the trip. She wasn't pleased that she wasn't going on the trip. And she said they kind of got into it, kind of got heated through the text messages, but she said that was normal because they would do that often since they've known each other since 2022. She said they had that type of relationship where they could go back and forth and be still messing around, not be messing around, doing stuff like that. So she said that her room was on the same level his room was on. Stefon's room was on. He had like a 3-story house. It's the main level, a middle level, and then a third level, and then he also had a basement at the bottom of this house. Now, I'm not sure what state the house was in. I can't really remember. Anyway, so she said her room was on the same level, that middle level where Stefan room was at. So she said there was a text exchange where Nilla had asked Stefan. She said it's not fair that I'm not going, or I know why you don't want me to go, or something like that. And he texted her back and was like, no, you can't go because this other girl is going. Now, this other girl name is what she said, Lindsay Bolin. So Lindsay Bolin is an female employee of Stefan, who he also allegedly has had relations with. She worked from him. I'm not sure what she did for him, but her name came up because Nilla brought her name up. She said that Stefon Diggs didn't want her to go on the trip because her and Nilla got into it. Now, she said that her and Nilla got into it because allegedly there was a text message that was sent to Stefon's baby, somebody, but either Stefon or his brother, baby mama, friend. So maybe they didn't go into details about that. So I'm thinking either Stefon's baby mother friend or Stefon's brother, baby mama friend got hit on. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm assuming. Got hit on by Stefon or his brother. because they didn't want to talk about nothing but the case. I mean, I'm telling you, this case was tight. They were on her heavy. To me, it wasn't fair at all. It just seemed like it just seemed unfair the way they treated Nilla. So anyway, she said she got into it with him about that situation, and they wouldn't go into details about that situation. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, but she got into it about that situation, and then he sent Lindsay Boland after her. So Lindsay Boland, I guess, allegedly was told by Stefon, this is what Nilla is saying, that Stefon told her to get in an argument with her. And so Lindsay got in an argument with Nilla. It was heated. Then Stefon came between it and said, "No, Nilla, you can't go on the trip with us because you don't get along with Lindsay, and Lindsay's going on the trip." And also Cardi B was going on the trip as well. So, come to find out, this is a trip where he has or would have had at least multiple females that he's actually had intercourse with going on this trip that allegedly he was going to be paying for. So, I guess like him and his friends were all going out of town on this trip. Nilla wanted to go, she wasn't allowed to go. So, they were having text messages back and forth about her not being able to go on this trip. She called Stefon Diggs a pussy, and he said, "Prove it." And she says after that happened, he came in her room, and she said normally those rooms they have codes on the door, so you would have to press a code in order to get access in the room. But she said he was able to come in the room because he knows the codes to the doors, or he can at least get the codes to the door to come in. But she said the door was unlocked. He came in. He stood by the dresser when he came in. She said she got up because he told her to come to him. She got up. She went closer to him. I think she said she's like 5'5", and he's 6'2", and he told her to come here. She got up, probably thinking they were about to do something kinky because I believe they probably were still being intimate, but they didn't go into details about that. So that's just me saying that. Okay. Anyway, this is all alleged, right? So he told her to come here. She came closer to him, and he slapped her with his open hand. And she said that after he slapped her, he put his arm around her neck. He turned her around, put his arm around her neck, held it up like this, and was holding her up. And she said it was hard for her to breathe. So she said he did that for a while, and then he slammed her on the bed. And he was on top of her when he slammed her on the bed. So she said he told her she was trying to get loose when he had her like this while they were standing up. She said she was trying to get her hand in there and move him, and he told her that that's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do that Instagram trick or something like that. She said that when he slammed her on the bed, he was just on her, like his heavy body was on her, and she said that he got up and he left out the room. She said she stayed in the room, and she said she was just trying to figure out what she needed to do. So then she texted, I guess, his KK. If you've been watching my videos and you know about the Diddy story, KK was the go-to chick for Diddy. She handled everything. She handled the flights for all his escorts and everything for his women, everybody. So I guess that lady, I forgot her name, but Nilla contacted her about getting a plane ticket to leave the house because she wanted to leave. So she said because he didn't pay her the money that he owed her, that she didn't have anywhere to go. So really she was just ready to go, but she didn't have money to go because he didn't pay her the money that he owed her from being his live-in chef. Now she said that he was paying her $2,000 a week to be his live-in chef. And she said normally people, athletes or prominent people, like in the entertainment industry, would pay her $5,300 a week, up to $10,000 a week, and you gonna get paid $2,000 a week to be with Stefon Diggs? I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed a little fishy there, but anyway. So she said she reached out to the KK lady. This is alleged. It's not KK, okay? But that type of lady who handles stuff for Stefon. She booked her flight. She said that she had been friendly to Stefon's um, braider, his hairstylist. So she contacted her and was just having a conversation with her. Actually, she didn't say how they end up talking. Somehow they end up talking. The girl, her name is Shy Charles. She is Trinidadian. Is that a word? She's from Trinidad. Okay, so she has that accent, and well, she's, I don't think she's from there, but she is that because her, you could tell in her tone, how she speaks. But she said that she's Trinidadian, and she lived in New York, or she lives in New York. So anyway, so somehow she was speaking with her, and they were cool, pretty cool. But she said that's Stefon's long-term friend because that girl has known, Shy Charles has known Stefon Diggs longer than Nyla has known Stefon Diggs. So she said that she was talking to her. She was telling her she was going back to Atlanta. Shy told her, no, you should come here to New York. So then she went to go visit Shy in New York. I believe that's where Shy was at, in New York. Anyway, I'm not too sure. But she said she went to go see Shy in New York. I guess her plane left later on that night when everything happened. And so Shy, for some reason, yes, Shy is in New York. So for some reason, she had a dash cam in her car that's facing everybody in the car, which is crazy because she said she got that cam because a lot of people do insurance fraud, and they'll claim that you hit their car. And so she got a dash cam, even though the dash cam was showing the people on the inside of the car, not what's going on, the activity that was going on for the outside of the car. That was real strange to me. But anyway, she had that footage. Nyla did acknowledge that, or Nilla did acknowledge that that was her sitting in the car at that point in time. So I guess that was the only time she sat in her car, was when she went to New York to go visit her. And then they went, so Shy came and picked her up from the airport. And so you could see her face because she was looking around because it's a dash cam, right? So Nilla didn't know that that dash cam was there. Obviously, she said she had just seen the footage just recently before the trial started. So she didn't know about that footage. So this was like probably the middle of the night, or like early morning on December 3rd. The incident happened on December 2nd. But I guess she ended up leaving, and her flight landed in New York like later on, like early morning, maybe, in New York City, because on the dash cam it says December 3rd, but it was dark. And then they showed another photo of Nilla in the car, in Shy's car. This was at 4 p.m. on December 3rd. And when she turned to her left, and you could see the right side of her face, you didn't see any marks. So what happened was Nilla stayed with Shy for a while. I think it was like 4 or 5 days. She stayed with her. Then she went back to Stefon Diggs' house. And when she got back there, she said she didn't really see Stefon, so she just went to her room. She said she didn't really cook, or she didn't cook while she was there. When she got back on the 11th, after she got back on the 11th, she had a hard time getting access in her room. And so she reached out to that lady again, and she was trying to figure out why she couldn't get access in her room. Then she reached out to Stefon, and Stefon told her to call and ask that lady. And she was like, I did, but I don't have access. Anyway, that was on the 11th. So on the 16th of December, she went to the police department because Stefon had fired her. Um, Somewhere in between the 11th and the 16th, Stefon fired her. And matter of fact, when she came back after she was at Shy House, Stefon asked her, allegedly asked her, or said to her, "Oh, I didn't think you was coming back. I thought you said we were done," or something like that. And I forgot how she responded. But anyway, she couldn't get access into her room on the 11th. And then on the 16th, she went to the police department and filed a police report against Stefon, saying that he choked her and he left bruises on her. And then on the 19th, the police officer that she spoke with, or a detective, he sent her like this chart, I guess, like this body chart, and asked her to point out where the bruises were at and how did he use the force on her. So of course Stefon Diggs' lawyers were on her heavy. Now there was a lawyer, a male lawyer, that was speaking to Nilla, and I don't know why I feel like that lawyer was Stefon's lawyer. But if that was the case, then she didn't have no lawyer. And I know she had a lawyer because they said she had a lawyer. But I'm telling you, her lawyer seemed like he was against her. He wasn't helping her. He didn't object to anything. I mean, Stefon's lawyer was a female. She was just going. I mean, she was so rough with her, and I was confused because I was like, which one is her lawyer? Neither lawyers seemed like they were trying to help her case in any type of way, and it just made me think about that privilege, that rich people privilege, because this the thing. In the police report, Nilla said that he used his hand. She said he used his hand and his forearm. And so Stefon's lawyer went in on her. She was like, "So he choked you?" And she was like, "No, he slapped me. That's why I said he used his hand. And then he choked me with his hand, like put his, I mean, with his what's she call it? His forearm. Because this would be the forearm. Here, this is the forearm, right?" And she said he used his forearm and his hand. Because remember, first she said he slapped her with the open hand, and then he used his forearm to choke her and lift her up. And so they were like, "Well, you told the police that you had bruises, but there were no bruises because they saw the dash cam from, early morning the next day." And she turned to the left, and it showed her the right side of her face, and it didn't show any bruise. Her neck didn't look like it had any bruise on it. And so she said, "Well, I was bruised that day, like I was all red in my face and on my neck." And she said, "I told the officer that, but she also wrote out that she was bruised and she was red." So when you say that you're bruised, you're saying like you have a bruise. A bruise, when I think of a bruise, I think of something that's black and blue or maybe purple, something real deep. So they got on her about that. Then, come to find out, on the first, she was sent a screenshot of an email that the payroll person had with Stefon, showing that she had got paid for all her services. So I guess, so the whole time, Stefon's lawyer, his female lawyer, she was on Nilla about her pay. She said all this was because of your pay, but you didn't tell the police that you had that Stefon that y'all were arguing about you not being able to go on that trip. You kept it, you were saying to the officer, to the police department, that this all started because of him not paying you. But on the 1st of December, you were sent a screenshot saying that you had got paid for all your services. So she was saying, okay, well, I was supposed to get paid that week I didn't work. Now, she didn't explain why she felt like she was supposed to get paid that week she didn't work. Because remember, he choked her out and she left and she went to Shy House. So she was saying that normally she would get paid if she's living in someone's house and she's working as their chef. She's saying that normally she would get paid every week that she's there, and she didn't get paid that week, and that was the money she was saying that she was owed. What's up, Dwight? What's going on? The tea is hot. It is. It's so hot. Okay. I had to find out what was going on with this Stefon Diggs case between him and his chef, because Stefon has another case that's coming up with him and another one of his old employees. And so Nilla, during her whole time that she was talking about this case, she was trying to throw in the fact that Stefon has assaulted a number of his employees. And this is the thing. Now, it didn't make sense that she was saying she was owed payment for a week that she didn't cook. Now, they didn't even have a contract. So she's living in his house as his chef. They don't even have a contract, hadn't signed no paperwork. She was just living there, right? And she said that it was a verbal contract between them two, and he was supposed to pay her since she was living there. So that just sounds bad, right? I wish somebody get their dog. So that just sounds bad, because it's like, so you're asking for payment for work that you didn't even do. So that doesn't look good. But I'm gonna tell y'all, I do feel like Stefon choked her. I do feel like it, because she stayed real consistent on that. And you have to think about it like this, y'all. Okay. She said they usually are very playful together. She said they've had heated conversations before and stopped talking and start back talking. She says they've been talking since 2022. They were on and off messing around. And it just makes me feel like he could have definitely did that, because he knew her character. He knew she wouldn't be the type to stand up in court and defend herself. Y'all have to watch it, okay? It's all on YouTube. But I just didn't feel like, I felt like I believed her about him choking her, but I felt like because he fired her and he didn't give her that money, that she felt like, oh, I'm gonna go to the police and tell them that you choked me. But the incident happened on the 2nd, and you went to the police department on the 16th. And then she didn't tell anyone that he had choked out. She didn't say anything. So really, it sounds like it's unbelievable because she didn't tell anyone. But I could also understand her not telling anyone, because she depends on him for a place to stay and for work. Who that sound like? Doesn't that sound like all Diddy's employees? Okay, doing whatever they got to do to stay on his good side, even when they were being abused or assaulted. Sounds like the same thing to me. It's not. Stefon Diggs have a lot of people a lot of his employees or old employees that say that he has assaulted them. I don't feel like that's just cuz. I feel like that's what that guy is doing. And if you think about it, a lot of people don't just say that about celebrities unless they have that violent streak in them. And I definitely feel like Stefon Diggs have a violent streak. Y'all, he was sitting there looking like doing all types of facial movements and just looking real sure of himself. And it was making me feel like I was getting the vibe that like I said, I thought even Nila's lawyer was Stefan's lawyer. I was confused about which lawyer was representing her because nobody was defending her. Not her lawyer, nothing. And she felt defeated in there. And I felt defeated watching it. I was like, oh my goodness. But if he did choke her out, she didn't have to lie and say he bruised her, because bruise mean you actually got bruises. But I'm telling you, I do feel like he did something to that girl. I don't feel like she just made that up. Now, he probably didn't leave no marks on her, but I do feel like he choked her out. I do. I do. She stayed real consistent with that, but I believe her telling the police was to hurt him and to get him to pay her money, which she said she felt like she should have been owed that $2,000 for that week that she left, but she said she left because he choked her out. So she could have been there working if he wouldn't have choked her out. But yeah, that's just how I feel about that. Y'all tell me how y'all think about it. I just had to see it because, like I said, I want to follow the case, the other case that Stefon Diggs have against him, against his other former employee who made the claim and said that I believe he was like his designer or something, and he said that Stefon told him to come ride with him, and when they got back to the house, Stefon asked him to serve him. Okay, I'm gonna just put it like that. And he told him no. And he said he put something in his drink or something, allegedly, and it was rugs. And he said he was feeling some type of way. He said I think he stayed there that night. He left the next day. He said that Stefon's people came after him and jumped him, I believe, allegedly. And Nilla even said in the case, even though they kept stopping her, the way they kept stopping her from saying stuff and nobody was protecting her, not even her lawyer, really made me feel like it was a setup on her. Like no one was there for her. She was defeated. She didn't stand a chance in that courtroom. She didn't. Y'all have to watch it for yourself. So it just made me feel like I could believe he did that, because most people don't have violent claims about them unless they're violent. And the way he was looking and everything in the room, just looking like he was assured, like he knew it was gonna go in his favor. It was She didn't have no assistance. To me, that was a waste of time. She didn't stand a chance. The judge wasn't with it. The lawyers were not with it. Even her lawyer. Nobody was there for her. It was sad. It was actually hard to look at. It was real hard to look at. But so, of course, Stefon won that case. Now, Shy, who is the hairstylist, remember Nilla said that she believed Stefon had slept with Shy. Well, allegedly, what it seemed like is Stefon slept with every female he came across. Every female that worked for him, everybody. Because every female they talked about, um, somebody said he was sleeping with. And then this is all during the time he's with Cardi B. So he had a party or whatever in 2025, November 2025, and he took a lot of females, or he took multiple females there that were possibly, allegedly, he had already been sleeping with, including Cardi B, because Nilla said that Cardi B was going and she was looking for an outfit to go as well. And I'm thinking, so y'all all done slept with this dude and y'all know he with Cardi B. Y'all can't claim him. Y'all can't say y'all mess with him. Y'all can't act like y'all had relations with him. But y'all gotta sit back and watch him be with Cardi B because she's the main chick. And I'm thinking Cardi B better be careful. She better be real careful with messing with this dude because he seems violent. He has a lot of claims against him saying that he is violent, and I can see it. It's all up in his eyes. In his eyes, his whole face, you can tell he has a mean streak. Like he has that baby face, but you could tell he ain't wrapped too tight. And then Cardi B has the son with him. I bet y'all, mark my words, okay? When he grow up, he's gonna have the same type of claims because that's his child, because Stefon is his dad. And then Stefon's lawyer kept calling him Steph. And I thought that was strange because they wasn't calling Nilla Nilla. They were calling her Miss Adams. And then they called Stefon Steph. And I'm thinking, why the hell they calling him by like a nickname? Why they done shorted his name and gave him a nickname? This is a court of law. Shouldn't he be called Mr. Diggs? But y'all calling him Steph? It was just strange to me. The whole case. Like I said, she didn't stand a chance. Oh, Shy Charles, who is the um hairstylist, she claimed that she was over Stefon's house and Nilla was there. Excuse me. Nilla was there and she witnessed Nilla acting very strange, like laughing real crazy when Stefon was sitting next to Shy. And they didn't say it, but it seemed like Stefon told Shy to come over so he could make Nilla jealous, and Nilla was jealous, and she started acting out a little bit, like laughing crazy, not being in the same room with them because they were in the living room watching TV. And she was in there, but she was on her phone. And Shy was saying how she was on the phone, she was in there, and she was acting strange. And I'm thinking, that ain't no friend. She was all the way on Stefon Diggs' side. So I believe he probably was messing with her as well because why you watching, excuse me, I think they said it was a Netflix show they was watching. Why you watching Netflix? Why you Netflix and chilling with Cardi B, man? And then of course Shy didn't even ask her if she had intercourse with Stefon. They didn't even ask her that. Not even Nilla's lawyer didn't even ask her that. And I thought that was strange. Because you would want to know if there was some type of intercourse going on to find out how close they really are. But they wasn't trying to find that out. I thought that was strange. But like I said, that whole court case was strange. I could tell it was going to go in Stefon's favor. And Shy Charles, the hairstylist, she says that she would charge Stefon Diggs between $600 and $1,500 to do his braids. I'm in the wrong profession. Okay? Wrong profession. For some braids? $600? Now, what kind of stylist is charging $600 for some straight backs? For some cornrows on the guy hair, you ain't even using weave. I'm not trying to knock the hustle. I'm just saying 600 to 1,500. What hairstyle is worth $1,500? I want to see that. I want to see it because he was in court with braids and they had all the little lines in it. I forgot what you call those braids. Look real nice, but I'm thinking he possibly paid $600 for those braids right there. And he get his hair done every 2 to 3 weeks. Shy said she testified that she does Stefon Diggs hair every 2 to 3 weeks. So he paid $600, between $600 and $1,500 to get his hair braided. I know that's all the way off topic, but I did get that from this trial here. Okay, but yes, so I believe that was everything. All the notes I had. Yeah, that was all the notes I had. So she was found guilty because, and then she was so emotional, y'all. She was so emotional. She was talking over the lawyer. She felt defeated. So she was just going in, and it was like cringeworthy. Like, girl, oh my goodness, it's not going to work. Stop it. Stop, girl. But like I said, I still feel like I believe her, but she didn't stand a chance in court with him. And I'm really curious to find out how that guy case is going to work because he said that he even got jumped allegedly by Stefon's people. And he said this all started because he turned down an advancement that Stefon made to him. And yeah, yeah, I could believe that also. Because just having intercourse with every woman like that is weird. That's very weird. Having so many children by all those different women, that's super weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old, but it just seemed real weird to me and strange. I don't know. But anyway, you guys, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Again, I just went over the Stefon Diggs and his chef case. His chef name is Jamila Adams. Stefon Diggs was found not guilty in that case. It's all over YouTube. You guys can look at this information for yourself and let me know how y'all feel. Tell me how y'all feel in the comment section. Let's talk about it. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate more. But you guys have a good evening and talk to y'all soon. Peace.